Hello and welcome back to the Fantasy Fools podcast, the show where a Packers fan and a Bears fan talk about fantasy football. This week we have a special guest, Mr. Gavin McCullough himself.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on this very intellectual podcast.
Very
you guys
intellectual,
have here.
very prestigious as well.
Nah, for real.
Nah, for real. So let's start with, we won't go into biggest L's, so we'll go right into waiver wire. So who are some of your waiver pickups this week?
I got Trey McBride.
Me too.
Zach Ertz went on IR last week, and Trey McBride immediately comes in, has an impact, scores a touchdown, got a lot of targets. He's a really good late tight end pickup this season, and a lot of people I know are struggling with tight ends. And
Right.
That's the same case every year. Trey McBride could possibly be the answer to a problem that you have on your roster.
Yeah, he saw 14 targets. That's huge for tight end production. So
Yep. He looked good out there. What about you, Gavin? What are some of your waiver
this
wire
week,
pickups?
my top waiver wire was Demario Douglas. He is a rookie wide receiver for the Patriots. Kendrick Bourne tore his ACL this week. Very unfortunate injury, but I expect Douglas to fill in that wide receiver slot role in the Pats offense. He saw 6 targets in week 7, and he saw 7 targets in week 8. This was after the bye. We all know that wide receivers really ramp up their usage when their rookie is coming out of their bye. So I expect Demario Douglas to be a solid flex, wide receiver 2. Not wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 3.
Right.
Someone good to have on your team for sure.
This is why you lost me.
Okay.
And we're getting into the personal beef.
This is why you lost me. See, the thing with you is that you don't know how to make a good team.
I would have beat anyone else besides Charlie.
Yeah, but I put up
And John,
170 on you.
actually.
I put up 170 on you because I'm running the table.
Hardik is now 3-5. I should update. He's on a 3-game win streak. I'm 6-2 now. Gavin is 5-3. So we're at a winner's table this week, except Gavin lost this week, and Hardik still has a losing record. So really, it's just me. I am the winner.
We'll see.
Although I'm
We'll
going
see
to lose to Gavin this
We'll
week
see.
because of my bye weeks. But with that being said, for me, I'd say for waiver wires, I would say, especially knowing what happened to Kirk Cousins this week, I'd go in the QB direction and say Will Levis is a good waiver wire pickup. He had his first game this week, his first start, and he played really well. I don't expect him to play that well every week, but I think it's definitely a risk you should be willing to take, especially if you had Kirk Cousins on your team, knowing that he's not going to come back for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way Will Levis played this weekend, tossing 4 touchdowns. His
Looked good.
arm looked really good.
Yeah.
But the problem is I don't think Mike Vrabel even likes him that much because, in his press conference, he said if Ryan Tannehill is good to go, he's the guy. And, I mean, obviously, just watching the game, everyone knows Tannehill sucks. He can't play football. He's old. He's
Right.
not. This isn't like 2014 when he could be average, but now
he could be. He was mid at best. And now it's just.
Will Levis is a young talent that the fans want to see, but I don't think Vrabel's going to show us. I think he still wants to develop Levis under the veteran presence. So
Well, it looks like it's working.
He's still a good waiver wire pickup. I just don't expect him to start Thursday, in my opinion.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move into some starts and sits. So Hardik, who'd you have starting and sitting this week?
Ooh, okay. So if you need a solid flex or a wide receiver too, I think Deontay Johnson's a really good start this week. He's coming off a game where he saw 14 targets. He got 16 points. He's playing on Thursday night and against a struggling Tennessee secondary. So I feel like Deontay Johnson, if he sees that production again, which I think he will, because he's always gotten targets when he's healthy. He's been dealing with injuries this year, but Deontay Johnson will get a lot of volume this week, and I feel like he can drop easily 15 points and potentially upside if he gets a touchdown too.
True.
What about you, Gav?
My start this week, I see him actually in my boom list. It's going to be Rachaad White. He saw great usage last week. I think he had 7 catches out of the backfield, which is great for
And like 9 carries, but yeah.
Okay. He didn't see great usage against his past week. He wasn't really used in the run game, but he's going against the Houston Texans. I expect Tampa to run the ball more against this Houston defense, and I expect Rachaad White to catch multiple passes out of the backfield.
So you think he's gonna boom? Like boom means what for you?
I think I'm projecting him to be maybe that 14, 15 points this week.
That's a boom.
That's not a boom.
That's like
But I thought
start.
You were on a boom list. Oh, okay.
Start.
All right.
Start.
All right.
I feel like Rachaad White usually gets 14
yeah,
to 15
he
points.
He just got 16
Like he's
points.
pretty consistently there.
All right. What about you, John?
For me, I mean, I was going to say Taysom Hill for a start, and I'm looking now, and it says he's only projected 2 points. I'm not sure if there's some news that I don't know about.
No, there's not news. Sleeper just doesn't really like Taysom Hill because Taysom Hill doesn't really like. I mean, as a tight end, Taysom Hill is like whatever, but like, you don't know how often he'll be used in the quarterback scheme of things. So that's what Sleeper is a little concerned about. But no, he's been really good the past 3 weeks, and like. Against a terrible.
Yeah, he's going against the and the reason I
defense.
say Taysom Hill is because he's going against the Bears, and we all know how that's gonna go.
The Bears are just so bad.
All right, buddy. But yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, the second
Hey.
sweat for a second round pick.
Is this how it feels though? Like, I mean, the Packers kind of suck this year too. Is this how it feels for you every year?
It feels like this every year. You were talking about Will Levis having a great arm. I've never experienced that.
Oh yeah, that must suck.
Yeah. It does.
At least the Bulls are, pretty trash too.
The Bulls are pretty trash too. So
Yeah.
that's what I have to look forward to.
I mean, Bedard is,
He's something. Chicago sports is on the up. Chicago hockey is on the up.
Yeah. Football
So,
and basketball.
Football and basketball. Bulls are just mid. They're just both fine all year. They won't be good, but they'll be fine. And then the Bears, I don't even want to talk about the Bears.
Moving on.
Bedard has to save Chicago.
I feel like another
Yeah.
start for me this week is Darrell Henderson. He's only if you need him for like a running back, and
Which you do.
I need him, and I am starting him this week. But going against a terrible defense in Green Bay, I hate to say it, but yeah.
Wow.
Give
You're not
up a
gonna
lot
hear
of
that
yards.
often.
Give up
Yeah.
a lot of yards to the run. No Kyron Williams, and probably like either Stafford will play and he'll be hurt with his thumb, I believe, or he won't play and there'll be a backup quarterback. So either way, Darrell Henderson and the running game should probably be the focus of this game. And probably in Cole Lambeau, I feel like they'll run the football, and Darrell Henderson will rack up some points.
Yep. All right. Well, our crisis player for the week is pretty obviously, we alluded to it a little bit. It's Kirk Cousins. Hardik, what do you think people should do who have Kirk Cousins?
Well,
What's the
I mean,
game plan?
my expertise would say to drop him.
Oh, well, no, yeah. But thank you for that. But in terms of a replacement, I mean, he's been pretty good this season. Number 6 ranked QB.
Right.
Where are you gonna? Can you find that value replacement, or is
See,
there
the
just
thing is,
like?
over the waiver wire, like you can hopefully get like a stud in Will Levis. Like obviously you want to place a bid on Will Levis if you had Kirk, but the thing is, the quarterback is the position where you can get mismatched the most easily. Where if you're starting like a subpar quarterback and you're playing like one of the top 5 in Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Lamar, then like that mismatch by itself is gonna do you a lot of harm in your matchup. So I'm not saying to go out and trade for those top 5 guys. I'm saying go out and trade for a competent guy who will get you top 10 type points, like Jared Goff,
Tua.
who's probably like I mean,
Tua's top 5 actually.
Tua is pretty good, but like I'm sure a lot of teams aren't starting Jared Goff,
Yeah.
So look at the teams in your league. Look who has a solid backup quarterback, because the people on the waiver wire, at least in our league, are not that great. Like there's Derek Carr, there was Will Levis until he just got picked up, but like.
Sam Howell's one who's actually ranked 8. But
Yeah, I mean, Sam Howell's been playing well, but, like, I don't know how much I trust Sam Howell going into the future.
Russell Wilson hasn't been terrible in terms of overall points, but hard to trust. I mean, he's not gotten below 10 this year so far, so looking at his stats right now. He was on my team for a while. But, I mean, there are options. Obviously, it's going to be hard to replace Kirk Cousins, kind of a steady, sort of a steady hand. Yeah, it does suck for Kirk.
As a Packers fan, I really like Kirk.
Yeah, because he chokes big games away from the
Not even that. I like the personality.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on to the trade section of our podcast. Do you guys have any sell high, buy lows, buy high, sell lows?
Or sell low, buy high.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to say that I'm going to be a biased fantasy manager here, but a buy high I have for this week is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. All right? Jahmyr Gibbs, we just saw the breakout. 151 rushing yards. A touchdown, and I think like four, five
all I'm
catches.
hearing, I'm gonna be honest with you, my ears. You're saying words, but my ears are only hearing mid.
Okay, that's great.
I'd argue Jahmyr
That's
Gibbs
great.
could be a great sell high
That's
candidate.
This is why I'm going to say this. Managers are going to expect Monty to come back and expect him to handle 30 touches per game. I don't see that happening. He's been banged up twice this year, and we really saw what Gibbs could do with like a full workload. And I don't see he's too dominant to stay off the field, and he's proved that this past week.
The thing is, everyone knew he was too dominant to stay on the field or to stay off the field. Like the Lions knew that too. That's why they took him in the first round. It's not that they didn't trust him to play well when they were keeping him only for 25% of the snaps. No, they knew that he was good. They just wanted to preserve him and not use him as much, and wanted to use him in times where the offense needed speed.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs next year is going to be a great
100%.
fantasy running back to have. I think this year though,
The last 2 weeks were fun.
I'm not saying Gibbs is going to be that top 5 guy. I'm not saying that at all.
I don't think he's even a top 10 guy.
I'm going to say that he's going to be a top like 12, 14 back. I see him having a floor with like 13 carries per game and multiple.
All right, bro.
This is why you're 3-5.
This is why I'm running the table and why I just beat you.
All right, you had a lucky week.
I had a lucky week, really, because why did it happen 2 weeks in a row?
Lucky, bro.
All right, bro. All right. My buy low is T. Higgins. Joe Burrow just played fantastic against probably the best defense in the league in San Francisco, and like just the way he was playing was great. And T. Higgins didn't have the best game. I mean, Jamar Chase was the one that really shined that week. But like if Burrow keeps playing at the level that he's playing, T. Higgins will be the T. Higgins we wanted him to be when teams drafted him. Now, this year he's been banged up. He's been playing pretty mid. He had that one good week back in week 2. But heading into, the second half of the season now, and with Burrow back at Burrow level, T. Higgins will be the guy that people draft him to be.
Yeah. I think a lot of managers draft him in the 3rd round, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of managers view T. Higgins right now as like a below
Exactly.
top
You
20.
can get him for a really cheap price.
I think he's top 15 rest of the season with
for
this
sure.
Burrow.
I agree with you. John, you got any trade targets?
yeah, I had 2 that were interesting. I think I don't know if this is buy low because he's been decent. He's been good the last 2 weeks, but before that, he was definitely buy low. It was Javonte Williams. He's coming off a game where he had 30 touches and 18 points. And then you could even do a sell high, but I think he'll continue to get those types of touches in the Broncos offense. And I think it's just a good trade target, more so than like a sell high or buy low. I think it's just a good trade target if you need a running back. Someone that I think even you could buy low, if we're going back to the Jahmyr Gibbs versus Montgomery, is Montgomery himself. I think fantasy managers like Gavin see Jahmyr Gibbs and they think this is the second coming of Jesus Christ. And David Montgomery, some people may be hesitant about David Montgomery's production when he returns, but I think he'll be up to the same level he was before, and it could be someone you could get if they're nervous about what Jahmyr Gibbs has done.
It's just a matter of whether the person that has Montgomery in their league is as has as low of an IQ as Gavin does.
Okay.
So really just look out for the
Logan.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah. In our league, it is.
In our league, it's quite So, yeah.
I see David Montgomery. I still fully expect him to be the full RB1 for this team, but I don't see him getting 30 touches per game.
So our podcast is called Fantasy Football Fools, and we added Gavin for that specific reason because we needed a fool.
We need a fool. Hardik and I have been right too many times.
Yeah, we're too good.
We're not living up to our name. Let's bring Logan on here next week.
Eshawn too. Eshawn would be perfect for this.
Eshawn is now, for those playing at home, Eshawn is now 1-7 after losing by almost 100 points.
And he's playing the person that's running the table this week.
Yeah.
1-8.
Any trade he sends.
So Hardik is going to be 4-5 after this week.
Godwin.
Yeah,
package deal.
he has like maybe 2 players that are interested.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it for the week 8 or week 9.
Yeah, week 9
podcast. Yeah. And good luck to you guys in your matchups. Good luck bidding on the waiver wire, and good luck in this final stretch as we look forward to the playoffs.
Yep, go get some dubs this week.